Welcome, man. Special episode, man. Got my guys. Two guys came in the man-to-man pod already this season. Jerraud Powers, former teammate. We got Will Blackmon, a.k.a. the Wine MVP. I introduced myself first. This episode will be played on all of our podcasts. But I'm one half of the man-to-man pod. Darius Butler played in the league for 9 years. A lot of that time was in the slot. And my last stop at the Indianapolis Colts for 6 years. So that'll be my insight talking about this nickel and this slot defender position. Next up, we got Jerraud Powers.
Yup. Jerraud Powers played 8 years in the league, played in the slot for my first 3 years, played on the outside. And then when we went nickel, played in the slot. Then DB came that fourth year. He locked the slot down. And then I moved on to Arizona, where I played the slot for 2 years, along with being on the outside, and then Baltimore, where I played the slot fully. Secondary Perspective podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that type of stuff. So check us out. Me and Rashad Johnson talking about SEC football a little bit and covering everything that's happening in NFL for sure.
Yo, next up, we got Will Blackmon. Wine MVP, holler at us.
What's the deal? Will Blackmon played 12 years in the league, came in, played dime my rookie year because Charles Woodson was not giving up that nickel. And then went on to New York Giants, primarily returner there. Same thing, played dime there. Then when I went to Jacksonville, I ended up being, full-time outside. But then once we went third down, I would go inside, play the slot. And then I ended up living in the slot. Then went to the Redskins. Now football team, same thing. I just end up being the matchup guy. I started in Washington, but I was a matchup guy. So 1 week, okay, we got Odell, I'm playing corner. We play Tennessee, I got to go against Kendall Wright in the slot. We go to Carolina, I got to cover Olsen at dime. So I end up being a matchup guy. So, yeah, this is the perfect pod for guys who are very versatile. And so you really had to be smart to do what we did.
Yeah, so, hey, a lot of wealth in this conversation, man. A lot of different positions that we play. And for guys, especially young guys listening to this, man, like the football team is all about what you can do. The more you can do, especially in the NFL, you got 53 guys on the roster. But going into the game, I think, 46 suit up, 47? 47,
yep.
Yeah, so something like that. We actually, last guest we had on, one of the last guests, Stephon Diggs, was talking about him walking to the stadium his first time and then seeing that locker, seeing you got a locker mate and that jersey ripped off that pad because you're not up that week. And a lot of us don't understand that coming into it, but definitely about, what you can do about playing all over the field. We're a little older, so we kind of saw that evolution of the slot defender, the slot receiver, tight ends being damn near wide receivers in that slot. So we saw the effects of that. Now every team, that's a starter now. That slot defender is a starter, and that's why we want to get on here and talk about it. So I guess the most general differences between the outside guys, outside corner, down, let's say a Richard Sherman, and then another guy like a Chris Harris who can go and play outside and inside. But what's the main difference, according to you guys, from an outside guy to a slot guy?
For me, the main difference is once you kind of establish yourself as an outside guy, a lot of time coaches try to keep you there just because it's so hard to find guys that can play in the outside. And I think everybody kind of can agree that if you can end up being a lockdown corner on the outside, that you can end up making a whole lot of money by just being the right corner, left corner, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But when it comes to playing the slot, I think it's more so of when you first get in the league or you first get on that team, whether it's college and the NFL, whatever the case may be. A lot of times, a guy like me that was 5'10", didn't really have the attributes that an outside corner is supposed to have. Everybody got the height that they want to have, the speed, the length, the arm size, all that type of stuff or whatever that they like, all right, damn, we got a good football player. We got to find somewhere that he can fit. And normally you think of a slot, all right, he can go in the slot. It's normally a shorter receiver that's you're going against. So it kind of fits your body type and your attributes. And then the main thing, like you said earlier, though, it's can you handle it? Because it's a lot thrown on you as far as on the smart end. Yeah, it's a lot of passes. You're going to defend the pass, but you got to, read the run. You got to think like a linebacker. You got to be able to make checks on the fly. You got to do all that type of stuff. So I always value playing the nickel and the slot because it just made me a smarter football player. No matter if I had to go back and play safety, corner, whatever the case may be, all the knowledge that I learned from playing in the slot, playing inside, reading the run, learning the D-line, what they got to do on certain stunts, where I got to fit. If this guard pulls, I got the A-gap backside or whatever the case may be. It just gave me a different perspective. So when I did go on the outside or have to play safety, I knew what everybody was doing. So it made my job a whole lot easier. So that was like my main reason on why I respected and loved playing the slot. And I think y'all can attest to it too. You get more opportunities to make plays playing inside. It's just more fun. You're involved. You get to blitz. You get to play zone. You get to play man. You getting help. You get, all this type of stuff. So I used to enjoy playing the slot a lot.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. What about you, Will?
No, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, about you saying you didn't have the attributes because when we came in, it was like, the third corner played nickel. Like that was the thing. You were the third best corner, where now it's like you might be the best athlete back there because now everyone's going 11 personnel and more. They have a multiple receivers. So you have to be on the field. And in our case, when I was in Green Bay, we put our best corner inside. It was Charles. And the reason why we put him inside, because one, he had the knowledge, and two, he had that ability, to be closer to the football, to make more plays. And exactly what you said, if I'm close to the line, right, I'm more keen to be involved in the run game, in the short area, the zones. And me, instead of getting picks, I was big on stripping the ball. So I was always the first man there, to get the ball out. And the biggest difference, you hit on pretty much all the points, but it's so much of the knowledge. It's so much of you really now need to understand. It's not so much, okay, I'm playing outside. I got my man. I got my matchup. I got to worry about this side of the field, or if I'm playing man, I'm traveling. Now you in the fire. You got a receiver coming at you. You got a lineman coming at you. You got to make sure you're on the same page with the linebackers. Yeah, some plays you're a linebacker, you might have coverage where you got to travel. It's different on one side. You got to make sure you talk to the linebacker, to the corner, to the safety. If you see something wrong, you got to kick the lineman inside. So you glorify. All that.
Yeah, you everything, man.
Yeah, so I already started to learn how to study film to see the big picture. But now I'm actually in the picture. I really had to understand everything that's going on. And it is way more fun because you're actually in the arena. Like you get to see everything that's going on. The cadence, movements, this, that, and the third. So I love being the fireman. I thought it was so much fun to do that because it's like a boxing match being a nickel.
And it's crazy. One of my things, because I feel like it's one of the least coached positions because it's just like it's all. I know when I was playing, at least it was just like we just kind of had to figure it out. On the base of it, like you coming in basically for a Sam linebacker. Usually, strong side linebacker comes out, you send in the 5th DB, and that's nickel. But as far as the coach, like even in college, like anytime I played inside, it was just a man-to-man thing. I was matching somebody. Then coming to the league, and actually my third stop in the league was Indy, and had a lot of injuries. JP was banged up at the time. Justin King was there. He was banged up. Tay was banged up. So it was like, once y'all started getting back healthy, it was like, hey, you know how to play nickel? I'm like, shit, yeah, I can play nickel. I can figure it out. And that was pretty much, that was it. That was it.
You never say no. Give me on that field.
Yeah, hell no. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely figure it out. But for us, like I said, it's just you got coaches. They can coach a box safety, they can coach a free safety, they can coach cornerbacks, linebackers. But when it comes to that nickel position, like I said, really. Probably Wes Welker. Once Wes and Brady started getting on the same page with those options, those quick routes, like kind of everybody just kind of copycatted it. And that nickel position became damn near started, like I would say halfway through my career. But what was the most difficult part for y'all kind of almost, because I felt like in a lot of times I was coaching myself for a lot of it. Like I had the coverages, I had the rules. But within that, like no coach could be like, hey, when I played or when I noticed, like, because it was just kind of new. So like, what was the biggest thing for y'all?
I think for me, it was the coaches that I had during the time. Like, first of all, like when you say it wasn't no coaches coaching the nickel, you right. Except in Chicago. I remember talking to DJ Moore one time, and he, was the star nickel in Chicago during our time. He had his own coach, his own position meeting room. It was just him and another guy. So they didn't even meet with the other secondary. They would meet by themselves. And I'm like, damn, that's why you was getting 7 picks a year. Like you was being coached on how to do it. But I think from my experiences, it's the techniques. You get on the outside and it's only a few techniques you're going to do on the outside corner position. But when you get on inside, it's like you're not backpedaling. You got to learn how to scooch. You got to learn how to play man-to-man from inside leverage.
You got a two-way go.
And they got a two-way go. So it's just, so it became a thing for me to where it was like, all right, I got to know where my help's at. I got to make sure on every call, I know if there's going to be low hole help, high help. Do I need to protect myself inside? Do I need to just realize what I'm going to give up in this coverage if they run it and not give up other things? Like, it became such a damn, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but like you said, you'll go through that whole week of the game plan. You're like, look, man, if I see this, this, and this, I'm jumping it. Right. If you give me something else, I got to play it honest. Rather on the outside, like on the outside corner, oh, he outside the numbers. He's going to do this. I know it's either A, B, or C route. If he's inside, I know it's this. But when you go in that slot and you're getting double moves from the slot when they got two-way goals and all that type of stuff.
And it used to be you was getting that third receiver. Like, all right, third.
Yeah, he's weak.
Third receiver. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to win my matchup against whoever. But now your guys are getting drafted. Like CeeDee Lamb, he played pretty much all slot in college. Right. He pretty much got drafted to come in there and play slot. Randall Cobb, like all these guys, and they putting the number ones in the slot.
And then what a lot of offensive coordinators started to do too is the outside corner started to get so good. Like it was that one time you had your Reeves, Pat Pease, Richard Sherman, all these guys that was literally locking up on the outside. So as an offensive coordinator, what do? You know what? I'm gonna motion them down, make them go in the slot. And now he's got to match up with that third corner or whatever the case may be. So like you said, it went from the Wes Welkers, the Julian Edelmans, and guys that was built for that slot position to now it's like, oh, snap, this is Randy Moss motioning down now. I'm about to run a deep over route, and I got to chase him.
No, because that's who was it? I don't know if it was Wisenhunt or Bruce. You would have known. But that's when they started putting Fitz in the slot. And Fitz, I remember he was like, I'm not trying to go in there. He goes, listen, you're gonna get a lot of touches. You're gonna get a lot of touches when you go in that slot. And that's exactly what happened. He went in the slot and started eating in there. And it's funny because it's like all the nickels on the team, we're coaching each other because there really wasn't a nickel specialist as a coach. I remember just a short time I was in Seattle, who I love Walter Thurman. I think he was one of the most underrated inside guys to play. And I was like, gosh, these guys got these two-way goals, and it's just like, I don't want to give up this or give up that. And he taught me the craziest technique, bro. And I swear to God, I've been using it. I've been using it ever since because I had long arms. So he said, when you go to jam, he was like, go on the outside of his pads. Like literally, like grab his shoulder pads on the outside. And so they were like, the receivers were trapped inside. And every time I got warnings, the ref never threw the flag because I never held. I got warnings. So to your point, JP, you just mentioned how, man, like it was such warfare. It was strategy. It was legit chess. Like you had to know what each person. Like I remember being on Washington. I was like, okay, I know Josh Norman. That man he's gonna go. I don't know where he's gonna be. So I need to be careful over here, and then I need to make sure. Okay, which safeties on my side to know what I can and can't do. Who do I have? Do I have an experienced linebacker next to me? To know, is this lineman gonna peak or is he gonna? I had to know what everyone around me was gonna do when I'm in that slot because one thing can go wrong. If he peaks and reaches out, he gets caught. I got a fullback and a tackle coming at me like it's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, man, I felt like it was such a wasn't coached a lot. So as pros though, you got to figure it out, right? So I'm looking around, and a lot of it was, and all players do this. I'm sure look around and see other players playing your same position. But for me, like, I wanted to see how Rock was playing. I wanted to see how Webb was playing. Darius Webb, we came in the same year. He played a lot of, slot. Even Ty Matthew, when he came in the league, Chris Harris, like, it was just a bunch of different guys who did things differently. But there's only so many coverages in the league, so many fire zones, so many quarters, so many. So, all right, if they playing this, how is he playing it? Like, let me see if I can take some from his game and add it in mine. And like you said, understanding the actual coverages and the weaknesses and knowing, like, hey, all right, I'm in this shit. I can't give up this over. I gotta take it. Like, it was certain coverages and certain calls where I'm like, I can't give up the over route. Outside of that, you run anything else, you got me. But this over, I got to take this over away. And it's just you got to be calculated in that slot like that. When it comes to two-man, like, I hated two-man.
I hated two-man in the slot.
I'm talking
about hated it. And then what make it so bad, defensive coordinators, every 2 minute, every time the game on the line, what they want to run.
They want to run two-man.
Two-man and get mad that you. I'm like, look, man, this dude – faking left, faking right at the top.
He -4 running an out route, bro. What you want?
Yeah. you can't give up anything across your face. That's number one. And then you got that middle read is butt naked. Like that middle of the field is wide open. So that's a stressful call.
What I used to do though, every offseason, no lie, I remember one offseason specifically, like I used to always get who I respected as that played the same position that I played. Like I wasn't a guy that just watched, like no lie, I watched Revis all the time, but I wasn't watching Revis for my game because Revis was a whole different player. So like I remember playing nickel. I used to get a cut up of your film. I got to cut up both of y'all's film. Chris Harris, I used to always get the nickels that I'm like, nah, they playing it like how I think, like on that level. And like you said, every time I watch some, even though it might be different coverages or y'all might be playing it a little bit different than how we playing it, but like you said, everybody play the same stuff. So I would watch you, DB, and be like, man, like I know DB personally, the most athletic dude I've ever met in my life. But then when you watch him on the field, it's like, all right, I know he's 4'3", but he's only 4'3" when he needs to be 4'3". Right. So how is he making these plays? I know he can jump 43 inches. How is he making these plays? And it was always smarts. Like, all right, he's the lurker. He ran the under. He let the first one go by because he knew that backside safety. Backside slant was coming and he's robbing it. So I used to always think from a smart perspective, not necessarily technique-wise. Yeah, but it just be like, damn, like how did he know that dagger was coming? Oh, that outside release from this, and whatever the case may be. So I used to always get you guys' film, study it, and just try to pick it and try to think for myself on why y'all were doing certain things and making plays. Like you said, like bro, like you used to get strips and fumbles 24/7 in 2014. That was like my first year playing the nickel to where I was causing fumbles, like, and I was trying to punch the ball out and all that. Before then, I was just on the mindset, if I ain't get a pick, I ain't really do nothing.
Fact, I can't
we can get sacked. I got video of me getting sacks and getting up like, I don't care about this sack. Like y'all can have that. Like I want to pick. But I used to study, like you said, I used to study everybody, man, and just try to get, some in that slot. Because like you said, we didn't have nobody teaching it. Like a defensive coach would go in there and be like, look, if they line up in this, they're gonna run this, so make sure you protect inside. And I'm just like, all right, well, what if they don't run that?
What if they What if they don't? Right? Give me some in-game experience, bro. And but facts in terms of, but that's what everyone does. When I was on NFL Network working there, I had the pleasure of got to interview Ed Reed, and we were talking. I said, like, I asked him about film study. I was like, tell me, because you getting picks galore, and he was like, honestly, man. He said, me and Troy were at the Pro Bowl and we were talking. He said, we would just watch the man before. And what he did right, we try to replicate. And what he didn't do right, we fix it. He said, we just can't put that simple. Obviously, you can get to formations down a distance and study, but try not to overstudy. Just look what the guy did before you. Somebody that I actually watched, man, and I got a ton of cut-ups is I went back and I watched a ton of Rondé Barber. I got all his stuff, man, and I just saw what he did, and I realized same thing. It was all film. He always looked like he was just chilling in position.
Yeah, that's the best players to watch, bro.
Yeah, he
always looked under control.
Yeah, and just like JP said about you, like he was just always in position, and the ball would just hit him in the face. He just happened to be there, You know, and there's only a few guys in the history I can think of in the slot. Like obviously Honey Badger's like that, where the ball just it hits him in the lap. You know, Charles Woodson was on the sideline one game and quarterback threw the ball away and it hit Charles in the chest.
Right in the chest. I saw that.
He was in street clothes.
I think him and Ed Reed was over there.
Yeah, him and Ed Reed, exactly.
Yep. Said, damn, the ball's still finding these motherfuckers.
But still finding them. But that's what it is. It's like you really, really had to look at other people. And I mean, that's what we did growing up, right? We emulated people to try to be the type of athletes we were. And it really didn't change if you're really trying to improve, because everyone does something different. Like, okay, I see how he does that. You mentioned Revis. I remember when he was a rookie and they played Dallas. We were watching tape. We were like, "Who's that young dude hemming up T.O. like that?" Mm-hmm. And my DB coach was like, my coach was like, "That's Revis." Yeah. He said, "I fought for Revis, but they wouldn't get him from me." Hey, hamming him up.
Revis was different. We went to we played the same division in the Big East. And that's before I even really knew who he was. He was 25 at Pitt. But, I mean, like, half the dudes wouldn't even get off the line of scrimmage in college against this dude. And I saw him doing the same thing in the league. And I actually was watching him, too. But like you said, playing nickel, not so much. But he was one of those guys, one of those few guys who would go to the inside. So if he was following the receiver, they try to put Ocho in the slot, or they try to put Reggie or whoever in the slot, he'll go follow him in the slot. A lot of cats didn't do that, still don't do that.
They don't.
He was one of those guys because what he did, probably better than anybody, not probably, better than anybody I've ever seen.
It was.
The ability to stay square.
Yes.
And stay patient. Yeah, exactly.
I used to always just be like, how? Like,
because I'll tell you what,
not move that inside foot right there.
Because this is what I saw. When I would watch Revis too, like and I tell the DBs I even help out now, he kept his cleat like close to the grass. He never really picked his feet up. When he did pick his feet up, his cleats are always close to the grass. So for him to react, because like you said, my coach always say, "Man, don't watch this guy, don't watch that guy." You know, he does what he does. I'm like, but there's something that he does. And Revis, his cleats were so close to the grass that he was just skimming the surface where you never caught him off guard. So in terms of the press corner, straight up, like. I can't think of anybody else. You can say Blunt. You can say Mel Blunt, but he used to clothesline people. We had this talk.
That's a different era. That's a different era. I actually was talking to Mel Blunt this summer. John Stallworth, wide receiver, he one of my neighbors, so he has this big event every year, and all the old Pittsburgh Steelers come in town. And I was talking to Mel Blunt at his event, which Mel Blunt is still huge, by the way. Like, I still can't believe he was a corner, by the way. And he still was talking like, man, I can get out there right now and bet you can't get off the line. And I was like, you right?
I'm not going to say nothing to you, bro.
He was a different breed.
Man.
He was a different breed. But that dude Revis, man, he was like a basketball player almost. And that's what it's like for a corner and press.
That's exact. Thank you.
A lot of people think like, it's about hands and being so strong and physically especially not in the league. Like, you can get away with that on certain levels, but it's really about staying in front and making it cloudy, especially for slot defenders. I want to make it as cloudy as possible for this quarterback. Right. Because for the quarterbacks in the slot, a lot of the times, like, it's option routes, and it's almost based off, the defense can't really be right. Like, if I come up, I'm going to come, you take away inside leverage, I'm going to attack it and push away, and the ball's going to be away, outside, low, whatever. But as a defender, as a slot defender, the more gray area I can do that. So if I don't just show you this to where, this is your release or that. So instead of going here, I can go back here for another yard, like that.
Stuff on the fly.
That's gonna mess it up for the quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's kind of great to me to say, that outside is the inside. Now I'm gonna just go somewhere else. So that first 2-3 yards, that's the win right there in most of your routes. And then knowing if I'm gonna be inside leverage, the receiver knows that, the quarterbacks knows it. So know what route you're getting. Get a little pull. Hey, do what you got to do in there, man. You can't play it honest in there. I'm gonna tell you that.
No, you gotta get scrappy, bro.
You gotta cheat.
You gonna have a couple holdings and all that stuff. It's gonna happen. I guess my main thing was always just being in position to make a play. I never wanted to have a rep in the slot to where a guy got away from me and it was like a 2-yard type separation, because on certain routes, like you said, they got
hard.
the entire field. So it was just like, if I'm not close to this guy when he catches the ball, it's going to be a big ass game. I can't let that happen. So it's either going to be a catch tackle or a PBU or a pick. You know, it had to be that. It couldn't be, oh, he ran an under route. You was outside leverage. He caught a 3-yard route and ran for 20 yards. It never could be that.
Yeah, that's huge is yak. So you're gonna give up some. You're gonna give up catches 10, 8, 4, whatever. Obviously on third downs, you want to win as many of those as possible. But yak is the biggest thing, man, because if no offense wants to go that long 13, 16 play drive. They want the chunk. They want the plays. And sometimes those chunks come from a 4-yard catch that goes for 32. So being in position enough where you can make that tackle. Like that's even in one-on-ones. You get up that catch, get yourself in that body position and make a good tackle.
Right.
Always. It's always muscle memory. In New England, we used to have to do open field tackling drills every day in practice. Like it was a part of individual. And like in the games, it started to show up, because on that level, on the NFL level, the only time you practice to the ground is on game days. So just getting those mental rests when you're physically getting your body just in a position of tackle is important, man. Even if you're not hitting the guy, especially on that slot. But I guess let's coach these guys up, man. Since we didn't get it, let's coach these guys up. Whoever listens to this, number one, and this for me, and I'll just go to the next person, whatever y'all got. But the most important thing for a slot defender, nickelback, safety, whoever in that position, for me is communication. Like first and foremost, not only for yourself but others around you. Just like that slot position, we talked about it a lot at corner. I mean, it's really knowing what the hell you got to do. And it's a tough position. Don't get me wrong, especially not giving up that long ball. That's the biggest thing when you're on the outside. But knowing what you're going to do, you're in the third, a quarter, or flat. Man, like it's not rocket science. But in that slot, it's a lot of thinking, a lot of moving parts. If somebody's motioning, you're most likely going to be involved in that motion. So communicating not only to yourself, a lot of it was for me, honestly. Nickel left, nickel right. Hey, alert this. If we're going to
that's number one. That's number one. Where's the nickel?
Exactly. So everybody got to know where you are, and you got to know where everybody is. You know, everybody's on the same page, right? Hey, we're in this. If it's motion, we're going to that. So communication, and help you anticipate things. And it helps everybody else around you too. They know you. They hear that voice. They get used to hearing that voice in walkthroughs and meetings. Always having that voice. So communicating. You should be the biggest communicator on your defense if you're in that slot defender position. What about y'all? What y'all got for, I guess, the top thing?
Outside of communication, definitely I think should be up there as the top. But outside of that, I'll say alignment. A lot of times, if you out of position, man, and you're not, in the correct alignment, you already F before the play even starts. Especially in that position, like you said, we just said you got two-way goals from that position. So if you line up incorrectly, it's going to be a big game. The communication part is number one, just because it makes everybody feel comfortable before the play snaps. If everybody's talking and everybody's wrong, everybody's right. That means everybody is on the same page.
Right.
But soon as you get that, you still trying to talk and communicate, and the ball's being snapped, and you're not sure if that one guy heard you, or if that safety got the check, or if that defensive end, did he get that pat on the hip that you about to blitz outside so he can slant in? Like, it's stuff like that if the communication of the guys that you're talking to, they're not giving it back to you, it'll leave that nickel kind of in some gray area too. Like, man, I'm calling out the checks and all this. Y'all hear it? Like, give me something back. But like you said, that's number one. But the alignment part's number two, because if you ain't in the right spot as far as alignment before the ball snap, man, you're already at a disadvantage in a position to where it's one of the hardest places to cover on the field.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Yeah. So number one for sure, communication, alignment. And so I'm gonna throw in 3 is assignment. Like, just know what you're doing first and foremost. A lot of times I got myself in trouble where I go out there, I have so much information. Okay, what are they in? Okay, let me make sure this and make sure that. And it's like, shit,
What's the call again?
What's the call? Yeah, or what do I have? You know what I'm saying? They say what paralysis by analysis, right? I'll know so much, and then I forget what I'm doing. So just at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you in 3, you got curl flat, you buzz, whatever you want to call it, or you the hook player, depending on what the rotation is. Like, what are you doing? Period. And it goes hand in hand with all those other things. Is that's huge to just truly have an understanding of what's going on. Communicate the call, align, get your ass set. And then what you got. You know what I'm saying? And I want to touch on alignment real quick because I made some adjustments when I was playing. You mentioned DB about like it's like playing basketball, right? So for me, I actually, because I used to get so much sauce in the slot, bro, I actually gave myself, bro. I'm telling you, even some dudes I never heard of, I got crossed up, bro. And so I would give myself actually a yard off the line. I gave myself a whole yard, and that helped me like be more patient. Because if I got close to them and I tried to throw my hands up, but a whole yard, and I literally played basketball. I had a situation in Seattle with Coach Chris Richard. He was telling me about, we were going over step, kick, and jam. He said, "Let me see your stance." And he said, "Go like this." I was like, "Nah." I said, "I'm gonna go like this." I have my hands ready in my stance. He's like, "Bro," he's like, "Put your hands down." I was like, "Nah, dog. This is how I do it." And he said, "Put your hands down, nigga. That's how we do it." And I'm like, I was like, "Hold on, bro." And Browno pulled me aside. He's like, and when he pulled me aside, I'm like, "Okay, this must be legit," because Browno, he's crazy too. So he was like, "Black, trust me, man. Like he knows what he's talking about." He said, "Because you're not gonna always get a jam, so just stay in front.
Yeah,
stay on top. Because if you stay in front and you're on top, like you said, you want to be positioned. Quarterback got to make a perfect throw. Period.
Exactly.
Yeah. So communication, alignment, and I'm gonna hit you with assignment.
Yeah, and all those things, definitely key. Definitely our priority, and all these things. For me, and I'm sure you guys say the same, all these things start throughout the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like the communication, like a lot of the communication on Sunday has already happened time and time over again with walkthroughs, practice meetings. So by the time we get into, now we're on the +3 yard line and we got this call that came in, like we gotta already be on the same page of how we gonna play this. You know what I mean? Once the motion over, I just got to give you that real quick. You give it back and we good. Like it's no more communication at that point because, the hay's in the barn at that point. So all this stuff starts throughout the week. And like I said, I think it's important for the slot defender, the nickelback in particular, to kind of be ahead of that. Like if this bunch is, okay, what's going to be our adjustments to the bunch? How are we going to play the stacks? How are we playing this? Okay, and we're in this position. All these things, the starting nickel, whoever is the backup nickel, like these needs to be the guy. Everybody need to be talking. But these guys, they got to take that kind of control where, because, adjustments happen quick. Sometimes between plays, sometimes between series. And it's like, hey, what did you see? Hey, Powers, what did you see? Black, what did you see out there?
On the way to
and in my opinion, that nickelback, that should be the first person that the defensive back coach goes to, the D coordinator goes to. Hey, what we seeing out there? What do you think we should call in this situation next time we're in it? So take pride in that. But and obviously, like you said, alignment is key. You can get yourself beat with alignment pre-snap, and also
pre-snap.
Just to piggyback, I think another important thing is just knowing where you can make your plays and knowing where you just got to play the true coverage. At nickel, we get some leeway. We know what's coming. Like we can tell, especially in zone type coverages and all that. We can tell. All right, we got a under, some behind me, some in front. I'm reading the quarterback eyes, like stuff like that, to where you can gamble a little bit to make a play, but you also got to know certain coverages that gamble go get your ass beat. You better just play it honest.
Like I said, that two man, you can't really gamble like that because you got that middle read behind you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So definitely knowing alignment. Hey, and the thing about it, we got an advantage. We are on defense, so we can move. I can't show you if it is two men or if it is something else. Our disguise, I can mess with my alignment. Hey, safety, show this. We're gonna show that. Maybe it's two men. I may show like I'm pressuring. The safety can show like he's covering over me, and then on the snap, I kind of come out and play two man. I know y'all probably watch out Harrison Smith. He does it a lot when he's playing two man, but he's lining up on the edge of D-line, like he's blitzing on the snap. He on the X playing 2-man. He does it really, really, really good.
He's probably the best in the business doing it right now.
Yeah, man, his disguise and alignment, all that is incredible, top notch. But an assignment, obviously knowing what the hell you doing, and then helping other people, because we all know if it's 11 guys out there, it's at least probably 3 or 4 that need a little help, just a little reminder, just to hear that voice.
I was gonna hit you with that too. I was like, hey, not only know the offense personnel, but know your own personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Like that corner, he's worried about his assignment all week. You're not gonna get Richard Sherman, who's calling out stunts from the other side of the field. He telling the outside.
The worst is Pat P, yo. I'm telling you, bro, being in the nickel, because Pat. I mean, not to cut you off, Will. I'm sorry.
No, please.
But being in the nickel, bro, and you know where you got to talk to that corner. It might be certain stuff. And Pat is Megatron. And Pat like, forget the calls. I know wherever Megatron at, I'm playing man to man. Forget the calls, right? So it might be something to where, like you said, we might be in cover 3. We might be in something to where he might be ready to run an under. I'm trying to get Pat to get the check. Like, look, we ain't in man. We in cover 3. And he just lined up. Face to face with Megatron. He ain't worried about nothing. And then we get to the sideline, I'm like, coach yelling at me or he coming to me. You ain't give him the call. I'm like, man, I screamed the call 50 million times. I was like, y'all just got to leave Pat alone. We got to call something else. Just let him rock.
Yeah. I had an experience like that with Tay. With Vate was the same way. When those guys, when they locked in, and corners, you got to understand, too, they're not communicating a lot. Sometimes, a lot of times,
that's my whole point. They locked in all week. Yeah,
exactly. Like, okay, I'm looking. The boys standing in front of the huddle, like, all right, bet, going left, going right. So they're not. We thinking it's a thinking man's game in there. So, like Will said, man, know your personnel. Not only what you going against, but who you playing with.
I got more of that. I got more of that though when I moved to safety, because then I really got to see the whole land of who knew what and who wasn't doing well. So as opposed to like, I got my side and linebackers, I got to see the whole operation at safety. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to lean low here. I might have to do a little of this. I might have to, I'll give guys signals. I told a couple corners. I knew the route was coming. Like they're running sticks. We're in cover 2. I'd be like, hey man, just trap it. I'll take care of you over here. Like so I seen more of that when I was at safety. But know your personnel, because like you said, sometimes you're gonna lose your guy. Al Harris, if he was charged up like a Dragon Ball Z, you can't talk to him. You can't. So you're like, okay, he's gonna be in cover 3. All right, then coach, let's call roll 3. Okay, just let him match up that area. Change it up.
Got you out here. Another crib legend. We had it's funny. We had Matt Hasselbeck on last episode, and he was talking about that coin toss.
Dirty.
We're gonna take the ball. We're gonna score.
Dirty one.
Not happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of Al, though. Speaking of Al, I think Dirty was one of the first like nickels, like legit nickels, to get the bag. When he was in Philly, because they had Bobby Taylor, they had Vince, and then Al played the nickel. And Philly paid Al as a nickel, and then he went to Green Bay. Yeah, then he went to Green Bay and got paid as an outside corner. So I think he was one of the first guys to for real get the bag playing the slot.
Yeah, he was one of them press in your face.
Press technique, crazy.
Yeah, this about to be a battle.
Because what he did, he would go in the weight room. He hit 4 sets, 225, and leave. Strongest man ever. I kid you.
I heard he used to ask the coaches who they wanted to get cut today, like during camp.
Bro,
and,
okay.
Go out there and embarrass somebody. That's
listen, bro.
P. Lee was telling me that.
Listen, bro. P. Lee, listen. First of all, I love P. Lee. That's my brother, and he's funny as hell. But
my God.
So Al will come out during training camp. He'd come out during training camp with his abs showing out while the receivers are stretching. He said, "Who's trying to get cut today?" He said, "You better not have on a single digit because you about to be on that next plane." He said, you see that 240 fly JetBlue? That's gonna be you, baby.
What's wrong with us, man?
He said, you got a single digit. You better not line up across from me, dog.
Because you already know you got this single digit. You out there trying to make it. You trying to make it, man. But hey, man.
I'm like, chill out, Al.
What other game we got for these cats, man? We gotta have some more gems for them. And I know this was Rock. This was your idea to have, to have this powwow.
Yeah, it's good. I got a question for y'all. First of all, I want to say, who was your toughest matchup? But also, did you change how you play the nickel depending on what type of person you was going against in the matchup?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I did for sure. Yeah, I did for sure. So I was fortunate enough. So when I came in the league, I was going against Wes all the time, practice Wes Welker, and obviously he was the best when it came to being a slot receiver. He wasn't the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, but he just knew how to get the spots. And
he knew leverage, man.
Yeah, and the quarterback Brady knew exactly where to get it to him. Like, they was on point enough to the point where if he threw him in front, he knew keep going and turn up the field. If he threw it on his back shoulder, he knew catch the ball.
But that's an underrated thing, though.
If he put it low, he knew just catch it, get down and get the first down. So you going up against cats like that, you gotta. That taught me early. Okay, you gotta play the game different. You can't just go out there because your mindset coming in the league is I'm gonna just cover this guy, whatever. But nah, you had to. So like Wes, for instance, he was one of those guys where I went to the game saying, I'm gonna get at least 2 flags thrown today. Like, that's my mindset. Like, he has, I gotta have him complaining to the refs. Like, you know what I mean? I gotta have him in his mind. Like, damn, like, not only is this guy gonna cover me, but he gonna hold me, he gonna cheat, he gonna do everything. And just that little edge, I felt like partly not, and I knew him well, but they always gave me an advantage going up against West. I was faster than him, I was longer than them Pauls, and like when you got them short, quick receivers. I think as a slot defender, anytime you want a man-to-man, it's always try to get yourself. I always remember as basketball terms, ball you man. Like, I always wanted to be in between the quarterback and like a Wes Welker type receiver, like a Randall Cobb type receiver. Like, from the bigger receivers, it was almost opposite. I would want them over my shoulder like that. So I definitely switched it up based off who I was going against. But coming into the game, man, you do business been done. If they let you get away with some holders, some grabbing.
They do, yeah. Talk to the refs a little bit before the game. Let him back.
Every game, I talk to the refs.
Every game.
Yo, how we calling it? Hey, how you doing, man?
Yo, yeah.
I saw the tape on y'all last game. I see y'all ranked number 3 in the league in DPIs. How we playing?
What's up? Let me know. Listen, I got a picture of a ref in London. We play the Bengals. He holding my daughter on the sideline. I'm dead ass. I gotta find that picture. No, but you said.
Go ahead.
I'll say really quick, DB. You said something though that is so not talked about. Is like we talk about all these like receivers and how good they are, but what I learned, and I learned this playing against my first day in the league in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. I covered Donald Driver, who I think is one of the most underrated receivers of all time. And he ran a route. I'm covering him. He goes bang, hits the post. Boom, hits the corner. When he ran to the corner, ball was out. And I'm looking, I'm like, we going to the corner, but the ball's going that way. Brett Favre threw it that way. And all of a sudden, Driver went, bam, came back to the post. Boom, hit him in the chest. Yeah. And that day, I was like, okay, we're worried about the receivers, but we need to look at the chemistry between the quarterback and the receiver. Because that's a whole different thing. You mentioned, well, you said you covering Wes Welker, but he got Brady, bro. Same thing. When I was covering AB in Pittsburgh, he had Big Ben, and when them two were together,
that was the toughest thing.
Like it's street ball. They ain't running routes. They drawing plays up in the dirt. You know,
A-Rod, Randall Cobb, same thing.
A-Rod and whoever.
It don't.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
Nah, but you saying like switching your game, man. Every time I had to face Wes, every time I had to face Julian Edelman, any guy that was similar like that, my thinking was the same thing. DB,
kind of bully him.
I'm gonna be physical with him. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna make him get up, and he gonna have to say something to me. Like it's
he
gonna be
ain't
one of them
running by
games.
me. He ain't running by me.
Exactly.
I'm like,
He's
all
not
right,
running by me.
only deep route you got is a seam, and that's off like some type of play fake. You might run a corner here and there. I say, but
Yep.
your game is intermediate. I ain't
Yep.
backing up on you. You're gonna have to shake me off this line. So that was my big thing with that. But what made me change is when Antoine Bolden was moved to the slot. Listen. So look,
That
when
man is
Antoine,
so strong.
He was different.
man, when he
different.
moved to the slot, I knew he wasn't faster than me. Antoine wasn't running by nobody. He never ran by anybody. He just caught anything that was close to him. He caught it.
Anything.
I remember the first time I played against. Now I played against Antoine on the outside. The first time I played against him on the inside, like Antoine loves to be physical. Like if you want to be physical,
you want the
with
contact.
him, you know that. So I remember thinking, like, coaches all week, listen, don't get them started. Don't do this. You know how coaches be, whatever. So in my head, I'm just like, no, I'm going to play my game. And I remember I got a good jam on him one time. And when I say he kind of just threw me off of him, like I almost thought he popped both of my shoulders out when he threw me. After that, from that day on, I said, look, I'm going to just soft inch off of you. And I know whenever you break, I can get there and make a play. I'm going to just match it.
I'm trying to tell you.
But he made me change.
Yeah.
He was the one that made me be like, all right, you got to start seeing who likes to be physical, who don't. Because like you said, when it came to Wes and Julian Edelman, those guys are great. Don't get me wrong. They're awesome. But they don't like to be touched. They don't like that physical. Julian kind of welcome it a little bit.
He will.
But Wes, you like, man, I can beat him up. He might still catch a few balls, but I'm gonna win most of these matches.
Same Amendola, he's like, don't touch me. Amendola,
Amendola hated it. That's another. When he was in St. Louis, I got to see him my rookie year. He hated just the touching, you being physical. Like you said, as soon as they get to talking to the ref during the game, you know you're gonna win that matchup, or you're winning at the moment, or whatever the case may be. But them intermediate routes, I used to always feel like that was my forte. Like we played Pittsburgh in Indy. This was 2010 or maybe 11. AB was like the fourth receiver. It was Hans Ward. Hans was still in the slot.
Was it Mike?
Mike Wallace?
Yeah, It was Mike Wallace. Emmanuel Sanders was coming off the bench too. But I remember
Bugatti boys.
Hans in the slot, physical too. But Hans more physical that if he can take a shot on you to where you can't see him, he gonna knock your head smooth off. But long as you up front, he keep it cool. But I remember Emmanuel Sanders getting in the game, and I remember thinking like, all right, this like how we used to think. All right, this the third receiver, fourth receiver. He can't be that good. Went up there and tried to press that boy.
He got that sauce like that.
He got that salsa
shoulders in it. Yeah. I was like, man, how they got all these damn like shifty type receivers? But for, like you said, for the folks that's watching, man, you nickels, you just can't play the same every week. Study your opponent to the point to where you know, like, all right, I'm gonna get a holding. Hey, coach, listen, I'm gonna get a holding call today. But I'm gonna win these matchups. Only thing they running is slants, quick outs, option routes, and all that. I'm gonna win those matchups because I ain't gonna play soft on them. So that's big right there, and just knowing who you got, man. Because like I said, Antoine changed my whole perspective.
Antoine, man, once Fitz
changed it up. Oh, forget about it. Fitz was strong too. But who would I have? Oh, right. So I'm gonna talk about like OBJ when OBJ went in the slot.
So I had him his rookie year too.
No, so he's saucy, but he has hands like a tight end. Like he's making those contested clutches. If he gets one, not even a yard, but like 2 inches, he's open. He's catching it. But same thing, you went after Antoine. I had Dez in the slot, and I was like, okay, Dez likes to be physical. And as soon as he came out, boom, I went to jam him, and he literally put his hand on my forearm, and I felt the hand of God, bro. Listen, it was slow motion. I went boom, and he literally grabbed me. I looked, he had like a tinted shield on. I couldn't see him, and I was like, damn, bro. I was like, you know what? You're right. My bad, bro. I said, my bad, bro. Same thing. I was like, okay, let me just stay in front of him, because by the time he's trying to get upfield, the ball's already out. So same thing, soft shoot him, stayed in front. And I didn't jam. So here's another thing too. In the slot, I didn't jam to like mess him up. I jammed to, like you said earlier, DB, just get in the way and make a gray area for him.
Yeah.
Make him think like, okay, because they got to, in a slot, they got to get to that route because they're closest to the quarterback.
They got to,
quarterback wants that guy. So I just stayed in front and just was annoying. A lot of times I got hit for, illegal contact because, dude run me over. I'm like, I ain't even doing nothing. He just can't get by me. So adjust to everybody because, you're some big receivers who don't like it either. Little guys who welcome it. Kendall Wright was weird because he was short, but he wasn't short, but he wasn't skinny either. But he
against him a lot.
Yeah. But he can go
down at SC South. Yeah, he could go. He was a good route runner. He was a good matchup in that slot for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Over the years down in Tennessee, he was one of the guys. Eddie Royal.
So I had some battles with Eddie in Denver, man. I'm talking about battles with Eddie.
Yeah. Eddie Royal was another good one. Then you got the teams, like I said, as we start to get older, who would start to move their players around more. Like D-Hop wasn't a player that went to slot as much his first couple of years. Then, as the years went on, I was seeing more in there. Jarvis Landry was another good one. He's kind of cut from that.
He's cut from that
tree.
That Steve Smith Antoine tree, man. That Hines Ward tree.
That's another strong.
We so old, bro.
For real,
bro. People ask me all the time who was like one of my toughest receivers, and I'm like Derek Mason in Baltimore. I said his route running in Baltimore was like supreme during that time, and they like, what? You mean this and that? I'm like, man, I covered Randy, Derek Mason, Steve Smith. My first game, I lined up against Torrey Holt. And people,
I covered Isaac Bruce and Marvin Harrison, bro. Okay.
Torrey Holt was on my team. I had Torrey Holt and Joey Galloway was on my team.
Joey Galloway,
for the preseason. I don't think they didn't make it to the full season. But there was some old Torrey Holt actually beat me on the route in practice. He came out, got lined up. Oh, savvy vet, bro. I'm a rookie. I'm like,
some of the best hands ever, too.
Man, them ugly ass fingers he got. Man, he came out
going everywhere.
Man, he came out the huddle. Hey, curl. I'm like, I'm thinking, but he wasn't. It wasn't like loud though. It was like low key, because he was new. So I'm like,
right.
I got some good hearing. Come on, break high. Oh, jaw back. Yeah, got you, young fella. I'm like, wow, bro.
Man.
That is different. Funny as hell.
These old heads different.
He said, Curl.
He came out. It was so smooth. Said like once, twice, Curl. Like, oh.
You're like new guy, huh? New guy. Don't know the route.
Yeah, new guy. He's old ass, so he think I can't hear. Got my ass, but you gotta watch them savvy vets, man. That's the biggest difference. That's the biggest difference coming to the league, honestly, man. And you learn it quick. Because it ain't about your physical prowess and how quick or fast or strong you are. Like there was some grown ass men who just know how to do their job.
Turn it on.
You said
D-Bud, the year you was with the paper, our rookie year. Remember when we played y'all in Indy, the fourth and two game.
Yeah,
the fourth and two game. Randy in like the second quarter, he runs a post. And I'm like on top of him. And you know how like people be thinking folks be talking trash. You know how some games you just be having casual conversations the entire game. So me and Randy kind of laughing, going back. The very next play, he run another post, but it's like he put a turbo button on or something and took off. I thought both of my hamstrings about pulled. I went out. Listen, when he came back, he said, yeah, young fella, he said, I can still turn it on when I want to, bro. And I was walking off to the sideline.
Bro.
I'm telling you, bro, that shit different, bro. You just got some old savvy vets. Like they just know how to do their job, man. It ain't like, you just out. It's different. It's like a fighter. You fighting somebody. There's one thing fight somebody who just giving it all they got, who really know what they doing, they really know the ins and outs of it. So as this slot defender, and I feel bad for young guys who just got to go in there and learn.
Don't know what to do.
People just think like, oh, we driving in the first round. Yeah, he can play nickel his first couple years.
Right.
Figures it out. I'm like, nah, bro. It's a reason why Charles Woodson was playing nickel for the Packers, like, and why he was successful
in his 30s.
Yeah, in his 30s, Chris Harris, Rondé Barber, because that's like a position where you got to know what the hell is going on first and foremost before anything else, and then understanding where your help is, understanding how you're going to be attacked. Process of elimination. You got to damn near be a coach out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like we talked about, it's not a lot of people. Like, you got pass rushing coaches, you got kicking coaches, you got receiver coaches. Like, it ain't a lot of slot defender coaches. And I know people think secondary, but that's
inside outside.
Yeah. This is the leverage, and a lot of it is coach you after some shit happened. Like, hey, y'all know we in 303 deep, and they came out the bunch. But why did y'all match the routes? Like, bro, that's only 3 of us. Like, how are we gonna match this?
Have you noticed that and that should be the next one too, like what young guys you like right now. But have you noticed that the young guys that are in the slot or effective, they have some kind of like level of maturity to them, right? I feel like that's what I noticed. Like, a lot of guys who are young that end up going to slot is because they have that
enough to do it.
Yeah, right. They're smart enough to do it. They have that.
Or they got a great unit around them. That matters too, because if you throw a young guy in there with a bunch of other players that aren't helping them figure it out, or helping them, like, you can't. Right. That's not gonna work at all. Yeah. So,
but like y'all said, though, I do think that the position is becoming more and more primary, and I think it might be. I know we ain't in the locker rooms at the moment, but it might be getting coached up more because, like you said, I mean, the whole game now is 11 personnel.
You have 2 DB coaches now. 2. Legit.
I don't know. I got to talk to some guys because I still work and consult some younger guys, and it ain't.
I understand it's not.
We would think, or because you got to think, for us as players, like, we see it, we throw, and then it makes sense to us immediately. Like, okay, this is what needs to be done. But for the powers that be, like, they move, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like, offensive, they innovate. They try to innovate every year. Yeah. Defensively, bro, like, we're running the same shit that was running when I came in the league, bro. Like, this shit has to evolve. Like, yes, we have to switch everything down here on the tight red zone. We can't. No, I can't press it get over the top. We have to switch. These guys practice rub routes. They practice pick routes, and they can legally pick a yard from the line of scrimmage down. So things just got to change. But for some reason, defensively especially, I feel like we kind of stuck in the mud where it's like, all right, everyone should have a nickel back coach right now. Like, you call it what you call it.
He's called quality control. That's who he is.
But like you said, though, like, you're drafting nickel corners. Like, in today's game, they're not like. Some people are drafting corners to play outside. I'm not saying that, but some teams are drafting corners to play the slot. And it's he needs a coach.
Because where were you? You were in Tampa, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and they gave me the entire nickels. So I was interning. I was interning in Tampa.
So my son is Sean Bunton, and they drafted him.
Yeah, Bunny.
So they drafted him second round to play nickel. To my point, but go ahead.
But yeah, so I'm interning, coaching with the Bucks from OTAs last year all the way through the preseason. I know the staff. That was the same defensive staff I had in AZ, so I know the system like the back of my hand. And
Todd Bowles, right?
Yeah, Todd Bowles, and you can hit Bunny, and he can attest to it. Like, I got the nickels in my own room. I'm an interim coach, and I'm coaching the nickels by myself.
Like I said, quality control got the nickels.
That's what a safety coach and a corner coach. They like Coach Ross. He looked at me. He was like, "Hey, you got the nickels. You can take them down to such and such." And I'm just like, he's like, "Yeah, the film is on TV. I mean, it's on the computer. Click this, click that. That's the clips. Go over practice." Do what y'all do. So I'm sitting in there teaching Bunny the system. Like, man, you go be the nickel. Listen, you can make a lot of plays. You can do this and do that. But if I wasn't there and they're getting it from the corner coach or the safety coach, it's a different perspective because they got so much other stuff to cover with the other players that play other positions. Right. That's bigger, I guess. So
yeah.
But Bunny's a hell of a player though. Bunny go make a lot of money in this.
He's gonna make a lot of money, yo.
They got some good young guys in that secondary, man. They do some things.
They got a lot. They just got some growing up to do. But very, very, very good players, man. They just gotta, stay more consistent.
What's some other guys you like, DB? Some young guys right now.
I love my guy Kenny Moore out in.
Of course.
Especially when it comes to.
I'm still a Fuller fan. Kendall Fuller.
I was listen.
Kendall Fuller,
top of my list. Kendall Fuller, bro.
Yeah, I like Kendall Fuller a lot.
I love Kendall, bro.
I like Hilton too when he's healthy in
I like Hilton
Pittsburgh.
too.
Yep.
Mike Hilton is pretty good. He's physical, and you got different guys who do it differently, man. So you got bigger physical guys who like, okay, I want them in there because they can affect the run game, and they may be a liability here in certain coverages, but they do certain things. But
who's underrated though in the slot that we look at him as just a corner is Marlon Humphrey. He's a physical corner. He might not make the plays on the short area. I meant the quick game, but he might punch the ball out. But down the field,
right now, Bradbury's doing that too. Right now, sometimes he'll go inside. I feel like every time I turn around,
man, I like him.
Every time I turn around, he's covering the 7 route.
I love Bradbury's game, man. They put Ramsey in the slot too a lot this year for the Rams. They're moving him inside and outside. But yeah, man, obviously Todd Matthew.
Of course,
he's a weapon who can play all over the field. And there was one year I felt like he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. Literally, like you were turning the film on. It might have been 2016.
When he was in Houston.
Where was he?
It was the year he got hurt in Arizona.
15. Was it AZ? Yeah, I mean, it was 1 week. I'm watching him. He 1-on-1 with AB in the slot. Next week,
ACL that year.
He gets stripped. Like he was unreal that year. But yeah, Kenny Moore is the top of my list right now. If I had to go guys right now, Desmond King.
Desmond King, baller. Malcolm Jenkins still playing the slot, ain't he?
Not as much. They got
he's going on tight end.
Two out there. Yeah,
got you.
He got
He used to do it at a high level too.
Yep, very very high level. He's one of those guys for Philly. He did a lot for Philly.
Bryce Callahan flashes a bit.
I like Callahan. He's with the Broncos now, right?
Denver right now. Yeah,
he came from Chicago. I like Callahan. I like him.
Yeah, he flashes a bit too.
We tripping, Buster Scrine.
Buster, man, he had me hot last week.
Yeah, last week he had a bad game. Last week. He had a bad game.
You sound like a disappointed dad.
It was bad. I sent the video. I sent a breakdown to Chuck Pagano, Chuck his coach, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you gotta go." But yeah, I like Buster. Buster's been doing it for a while too. He's been doing it for a minute.
That's because he can run, bro. That's another thing too. At the end of the day, if you can run, you always gonna have a job, bro. That's what I'm gonna say.
I had a coach tell me, Father Time, 100%.
Undefeated. But shit, we got to do this more, man. Specifically on this position, it's important. The level of importance on every level, but especially NFL level, is growing by the week.
Especially we get to start breaking down plays with it too, breaking down slot plays and all that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, and one more thing I'll leave the guys with is in that nickel, man. A lot of times you're the extra guy, right? Especially what offenses are doing now with the RPOs, and they basically count the box. All right, they got 80 box, got 70 box. We run the screen wide, or we hand it off to the running back. So knowing as that nickel defender how to finesse, how to mess with the quarterback, or how to even get them to do what you want them to do. Like, if I'll show you a heavy box, so you throw this screen because I already know we dialed up for it, or vice versa. I'll show you out here so I know I can fit in on that run. So knowing that game, playing that game, you're going to get those answers from the film. You're going to get those answers from people do the same shit week in and week out.
You better be confident in that slot too. If you
gotta be
confident,
period.
I'm telling you, they go kill your ass in that slot. They will bench you. They will put a safety in there.
It's one of the positions where they think coaches just think you could just throw anybody in.
You going right on one of them receiver Instagram pages ASAP.
And be ready for the slot fade.
The slot fade.
You see wide receiver one move to that slot. So like a guy that's not always in there, Devontae Adams, D Hop.
I'm gonna repeat what you said.
Man, when you look for the ball, always turn with the man.
Body to body, chest to chest.
Body to body. Don't turn the other way. Play for that back shoulder.
In the history of football,
body to
if
body,
you see the best receiver in the slot, be ready for that action. Period.
Where's the slot phase? Where is it? Where do they like to throw him? What part of the field?
20 and in.
20 or shoot. I mean, I don't care where we are, bro.
If they get in that slot in the red zone area, he is running to that back pylon.
That back pylon, okay?
I read that fringe area for sure.
Man, yeah, right, for sure on the fringe, but I don't care. I remember just watching Dez, like he's running slants or he's running a slot fade. If number 2 is in the slot, be ready. I see guys like line up like every time Devontae gets somebody every single week with that same play. Guys, number 1, guys are lining up inside, you know, and they give him the outside, and the safety is doing something else. Yeah. Like everybody have awareness.
And knowing you get that, especially with a single high safety, especially the
single high safety. Done.
You got a single high and throwing a slot fade. If you got split safety, most likely not. But slot, I mean, you're on that slot. If you're a receiver, you got post safety. Expect, especially if you look out and it's like a bum receiver at 1 or a running back or a tight end.
Tight end.
Yeah, it's in there for a reason. All right, that is not.
Yeah, he is getting the ball.
You see a non-athlete outside, bro. That slot fade is coming, man. What are y'all doing every week?
That's why I gave up my bet. The best catch I ever gave up my crew, Jarvis Landry slot fade. And I was all over. This dude caught it. He caught like.
Oh, that's when he caught your whole body. Yeah.
So with this one, I'm like,
I remember that.
I'm scarred, man.
AB caught my helmet on a slot fade.
He had the ball though?
He had the ball and my helmet.
Yeah.
I think AJ Green might have got me on a slot fade one time. So.
See, we all got. We all scarred. So, yeah.
But I was on it, damn it.
Yeah, I was on it. He was just 6'5".
Me too. Hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, well, this is part 1 of the Slot Defender series. Yours truly, Darius Butler. Got Jerraud Powers, Will Blackmon. Shout your podcast out again, man.
Secondary Perspective, man. We normally drop everything on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we go give y'all as much content as we can give y'all. We getting it together. We chasing the man-to-man pod. That's what we chasing. I love the content you guys doing. You and my guy Antoine, man. I love it. I love everything about it. I'm trying to buy some wine from my guy down here. I told him I needed another box. He didn't even send me the wine MVP box. He sent me like
that's Alabama, man. That's
Alabama. I need the goods.
I sent it to Alabama. They took it out the MVP box and put it something else, bro. That's what happened.
Man, I walked in the liquor store. Dude was looking at me like he didn't even believe that was my box. I'm like, bro, like give me my.
He said, I don't see no cognac in here.
They're still running hoops down there. Come on, man. What year is this?
Oh, they're bootlegging. You stupid, bro.
Hey, y'all, leave us alone, man. We getting it together. We getting it together.
Oh, man.
All right, fellas.
At least, man. We got Will Blackmon. Shout your stuff out again, bro.
Hey, it's simple. NFL wine guy, man. That's me. Go to the winemvp.com. I have a full concierge wine business. If you're 21 and over, yes. This is for you.
You still got the plug on those wine fridges?
Still got the plug of the wine fridges, yeah.
All right, I saw the post. All right, man. We out. It's part 1. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
All right.
Go.